What's up, everybody? It is snowing. Let's see if we can see the Big Mary in the snow. There she is. Who's with me on this snowy morning? Is anybody with me right now? Nobody with me right now? Good morning, people. Who's with me right now in the snow? Good morning, people. We're live in the snow right now. I don't know if you guys can see the Big Mary here. But we're at the top of the hill now. You only could usually see at the bottom of the hill. She's up there. Good morning, people. Who's with me in the chat room? See if I can find the chat room here. Can I pull it up on my screen? Oh, we got 11 people live here. We're going to go live from my laptop in a few minutes, too. I took a walk because I'm about to shovel a little bit. We're live here on the snow on Saturday morning in the lower Hudson Valley of New York. We got fire burning the one coast and snow on the other coast. Incredible, right? We got fire burning Los Angeles and ice freezing New York City and New York. Right here, I'm on the outskirts of New York City. Hey, what's up, Valentina? Glad to have you here. We're live here. We got 27 people here. Guys, hit that like button. We're going to be talking about some incredible things. I don't know if you guys saw my last podcast, the Space Border podcast, but I am also going to be having an audio podcast out of the Space Border podcast. Some of the most groundbreaking information. Look at the fox. Look, a fox. Look, everybody. The symbols we're getting this morning. Look at that beautiful fox. Incredible. You can't time that better. Wow. Beautiful fox running across. Man, I'm so glad I got that. Running up into the... Did you guys see that? Wow. Wow, I came out just to catch that fox. Did you see that, guys? Everybody in the chat room? Wow. The fox running up into the woods there. And you guys can see the beautiful rock walls along that line, all the area here. Look at the fox tracks. You guys didn't just see the fox run across the video? Rewind the video. Rewind the video real quick, everybody. What am I doing? I'm walking in the snow. I am walking in the snow. You guys didn't see the fox just run across? That was incredible. That was so crazy. That was so dope. The fox has a lot of symbols about when they run across your path, what it means. You guys can look that up online. Really incredible. Fox just running across our path. Maybe that was meant for me to walk this way. Let me continue walking that way. Yeah, let me go back. The snow angle. Angel. Oh, I'm not doing a snow angel right now, bro. I'll do it when I'm in my yard. I'll be freezing. It'll get all in my back I'll do it later. I'm not really dressed for snow angel weather. I'm wearing jeans and a sweatshirt and a corduroy jacket. I did a snow angel the other day with my daughter. Really cool. Did you see that fox? That was so great. What's up, Constance? What's up, Omari? Omari, what's up? So we're going to be talking about on my Space Water podcast coming up in about half an hour or so, how our DNA, or even the atoms that make up our body. I have been talking about this for years. Now they're coming out with articles, scientific papers saying that, new study suggests. It's for sure. Guys, let me just put this so everybody can understand it. The atoms that make up your body did not originate on Earth, right? All of the on the DNA. Well, let me say this. The atoms in your body that make up your body, all the particles that make up your body, they didn't originate on Earth. They originated from supernova explosions and various cosmic events. So when you have a supernova explosion, it produces and explodes calcium and all these elements that make up the human body, right? And those elements, they travel what they call a cosmic conveyor belt of sorts. They traveled far beyond the Milky Way and came back. And as they come back around into the Milky Way, they begin to form other things like planets, and in our case, people, right? You don't have to believe it. You can scroll down and go to another channel, Omari. You don't have to believe it. You don't even have to listen. Right? So look it up. Look up supernova explosions. They produce a lot of the heavy elements that make up our bodies, except for a few chosen ones, like I think it's like nitrogen, or there's a few elements that are not produced by supernova explosions, but very few. Right? Most of the atoms in our body, carbon, they are produced by explosions in the universe, supernova explosions. And then they travel around the cosmos before they become things like humans and people. How do I know? Because there's been scientific research on this for many, many years. And plus, before there was scientific proofs, my intuition, my experiences, and my research have already led me there, right? And it's very, very explainable when you think about it through those ways. Supernova explosions are manufacturing the particles of creation and life. All stars stream the codes for creation, sustenance, maintenance, evolution, and ultimately dissolution, right? Destruction, maintenance, creation, destruction, evolution, all of that is sent from stars. It's okay you don't understand. That's why I've spent over 25 years in astronomy and astrophysics, right? And also, I have a background in mythology and ancient religious and ancient texts. So I started to compare that the ancient texts of the Vedas, the ancient texts of the Holy Bible, the ancient texts of the Near East and the Ugarit, they are all discussing in vivid poetry and symbolism how plasma physics and quantum physics and all of that are arranged in incredible mantras and hymns to the stars. So it's okay not to understand, but making fun of things you don't understand is where the problem lies sometimes, right? So I have many colleagues that have taught at even famous universities such as Cambridge. If you guys look into my work, Professor Chandra Wickraman is a longtime friend, personal friend of mine and colleague. And I have worked with him on research projects with Richard Hoagland and various other avenues of research that we have been in correspondence for many years now. And Professor Chandra is one of the world's most well-known astronomers and astrobiologists. In fact, him and the late Sir Fred Hoyle coined the term astrobiology. Professor Chandra is in his mid-80s now, and he's written well over 20 books on how bacterias and viruses and all of this are coming from meteor showers, comets, the solar wind. All of this is bringing us particles of life. So there's no doubt that the very atoms in your body have traveled the cosmos before they created you. Right? So you are imprinted with all the knowledge throughout the cosmos, deep within the particles of your being that can be accessed. Right? That's why a lot of people feel like they're not from here, because technically you're really not. We are all part of the universe, part of the cosmos. Vanderkamp, what are you, Dutch? Nice, Dutch. You remember Ramon Dekkers? That was the man right there. Ramon Dekkers? Or how about, who else was a good Dutch fighter that I like? Well, there's a lot of Dutch fighters I like. I'm trying to think of one that passed, though. A lot of Dutch guys. Manly Pete, yeah. Ramon Dekkers, yeah, Ramon. The Diamond. That's the friggin' snowplow. Ramon the Diamond Dekkers, yeah, that was the man. That was one of my heroes when I was growing up. He inspired me to go to Thailand and to take a Muay Thai camp and to have a couple of fights. Definitely one of the ones that inspired me. Your grandfather was a Dutch warrior. Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Yeah, I like the Golden Glory gym in Amsterdam, in Holland. The Golden Glory, and Ramon Dekkers had a lot of good people from that gym that came out. The Rob, he recently passed away too. The Mr. Low Kick, they called him. What was his name? Rob something. Oh my God, why am I forgetting his last name right now? But they used to call him Mr. Low Kick. He was a friggin' savage too. There's a lot of Rob. What the hell was his name? I can't think of it now. Right? Help me out if you can remember. It was Rob something, but his nickname was Mr. Low Kick. He recently passed away too, I think. Rob, I can't think of his name right now. I literally watched him for like so many years. Then you had Mr. Perfect too. Fucking Ernesto Hoost. He was another one. Ernesto Hoost. He was the man. I think a lot of people, when I have the live show here, they come in, they're not even my subscribers. Pencak Salat. Yeah, no, I did Muay Thai. It's very similar to kickboxing, but a little bit different. In kickboxing, you can't use your elbows and clinch and stuff like that. But yeah, it's getting cold here. I'm going to have to put on my gloves soon. What's Pencak Salat? The hell is that? Is that a Dutch word? Pencak Salat. Pencak. What the fuck is Pencak Salat? I really don't know what that word is. Yeah, we definitely, I don't know. I pretty much explained it the best way you can to talk about how our atoms in our body and the DNA, the bacteria, all the elements in your body have traveled. They're not born here on Earth. They come from the cosmos. And in fact, supernova explosions have drastically changed our world without us realizing it, because we absorb the particles, some of the particles from supernova explosions. And sometimes it may take even millions of years for the light of that explosion to reach Earth. And sometimes they're time coded for the most amazing events. Like in 2022, we had a supernova transpire that reached our solar system and Earth. And it took over 8 million years for it to reach it. And this was the time when our planets were all aligning. I think it was like 5 or more planets were aligning in 2022 to receive the light of this supernova. Right? The cosmic codes. All of the information absorbed during the lifetime of that star is exploding and being sent out into the cosmos. That's why I am strongly believe in the fact that we get evolved according to our own vibration, according to our own thoughts, our own ideas, our own prayers, our own wants, our own needs. As that vibration is collectively pumped out of humanity and the earth, it's absorbed by the sun, it's absorbed by the moon and reflected back to the sun, it's absorbed by the stars. And then the stars will channel in energies to evolve us according to our own vibration. So literally, if you have a greedy and materialistic vibe pumping out of this planet, this is surely the knowledge that's going to come back down upon us, is going to give us knowledge so we can be more greedy, more materialistic. Let me let this truck pass. Smoke them if you got them, everybody. Spark them up. Woo! Who's still with me? I'm not gonna slip and slide, Vic. Vic Emmanuel. But thanks for the tip, Vic. I'm not wearing two snowshoes either. I'm wearing like old Adidas. We got the wake and bake. It's the only way to walk in the snow. Who's joining me right now on the cosmic trip? How awesome was that? That's not snow? What is it then? What's up, Chicago? Darth. Anna Story. What's up, Anna Story? It's not ice. It's snowflakes. Me, I'm in the lower Hudson Valley of New York. About 30 miles outside of Manhattan in the Bronx. That's where I'm at. Where are you? Where are you at? Southside Chicago. Connecticut. Shout out to Connecticut. Shout out to Southside Chicago. I'm in North Rockland, New York. Haverstraw. I'm in West Haverstraw, but in North Rockland. That's where I am at right now. Near the Haverstraw Bay. Right near the Hudson River. Where in Connecticut? Greenwich. Long Beach, New York. That's Long Island. I lived for almost 3 years. I lived in Long Beach, California. I lived there from 2001 to 2003. New London. New London. Kentucky, oh shit. North Cal. North of the fires, thank God. Yeah, those fires are ridiculous. I'm not going to comment here on YouTube about them because most likely I've already been demonetized, so. Gore-Tex boots with the metal spikes. Yeah. That would be cool. Yeah, free speech, my ass, is so true. Dude, I've actually got warned by Facebook, too, that, and I didn't even put a bad comment. I put a comment on somebody's video, and they deleted the comment and messaged me and said that another comment like that will delete your whole channel. And all I did was state my opinion. They said it was a form of bullying. How come when people friggin' say bad things on my channel, they don't get that? All I was saying, I didn't agree with the guys. I wasn't even like cursing or putting the guy down in any way. I just said this is BS. I didn't even say BS. I just said, I don't agree at all. This doesn't mean it's truth just because the guy's spewing it from his mouth. Yep. They are bullies. Woo! How you guys like that? Dotology. What's up? Glad you're here. I'm going to be doing a live broadcast with the Space Water podcast soon when I get back home. We just chilling right now on a Saturday morning. And this is why I say that my translation of some of the ancient writings are more correct than a lot of the so-called experts and academic scholars, right? And you could say, oh, you're just baked or whatever. Has nothing to do with it. In many of the ancient writings, from Ugarit to the Holy Bible, with Greek and Latin, even originally where it comes from, in my opinion, is Hindu, where they say God rides on the clouds and he brings the rain of creation, fertilization, maintenance, and destruction. And in Hindu, they call this the Nataraj of Shiva, right? The cosmic dance of Shiva. What's up, Alexander, my brother? Cheers, Alexander. And in Shiva's Nataraj, he's surrounded by a ring or loop of cosmic auroral bursts, cosmic fires, right? The explosions of the stars, the supernova explosions, and the coronal mass ejection bursts of stars that send out all sorts of particles, of electrons, of carrying codes of life, evolution, sustenance, and destruction. And in so many ancient writings, they talk about how God rides on clouds, right? And I think that they are mistranslating it, my people. They're mistranslating it as clouds on earth. Yes, in some passages, mantras, hymns, verses, etc., 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 they do talk about clouds on earth. But when it comes to Indra and his riding on a cloud, Aryavata, they call it in Hindu, which is the white elephant, right? Also, Indra which is literally called cloud mounted, right? Aryavata means cloud mounted, right? Indra comes on the clouds, but he comes on the clouds of the heavens. He comes on the cosmic plasma clouds, right? And Aryavata is the white elephant of Indra. And this white elephant, scholars always translate it as, oh, he's bringing the rain clouds on Earth. It has to do with the rain clouds. When, yes, it might also have to do with the rain clouds. But in this specific case, they are talking about plasma clouds. And in fact, what's interesting about that is plasma clouds, when perceived through telescopes, which is the only way we really can detect them now. And most likely in the ancient past, they had that technology as well. Is there any left over? Because they would turn to dust. All we have is the rock observatories and shelters and temples that housed the technology, right? And in many cases, the temple itself was the technology, was letting the seers get into an altered state of consciousness so they can telepathically view these clouds. Maybe not even the need for a telescope, but when we view plasma clouds through telescopes, they appear white. Just like when we view stars and suns, they appear white because of the brightness and because of the spectrum and everything. Just like when we perceive the sun as sort of yellowish or white, that's not the color of our sun. Our sun is multicolored, literally an explosions of all colors. Most people don't even realize that. So when they're depicting this white elephant, or in some cases, Indra rides a 7-headed white horse. Now, do not translate this as a real horse. Remember, when specific things are being symbols in ancient spiritual writings, and remember, these spiritual writings were made for initiates, spiritual initiates and adepts. They were not meant for the average scribe or the average scholar. They were meant for priest scribes, priest warriors, adepts, right? And these adepts, they weren't just experts in one field like we have nowadays. They were shaman and they were warriors. They were doctors and they were astrologers. They were astronomers and they were priests, right? They had all the ancient 7 sciences and beyond underneath their hat, right? And they were knowledgeable and experts in all of them. That's how they became adepts. So this information is not meant for the everyday person to understand the symbolism that it's veiling, the symbolism and poetic descriptions of the deep knowledge of the universe and nature that is encoded within it. So scholars cannot truly translate the Holy Bible. Scholars cannot truly translate the Holy Vedas. What they can give you is the mainstream definition of the words within those verses, but not the poetic symbolism of an adept, the true meaning and origins of the words. And that's where people like me come in. That's why I spent so many years also on the scholarly side, so I can once again help form that bridge to fuse spirituality and science once again. Because somewhere between the Asura and Deva wars over the rays of light from the sun, right? The Asura and Devas, they went to war over the knowledge they were harnessing from the stars, from the sun, right? After this war, I mean, not after, during this war, we're in it right now still. We lost a lot of our understanding of who we are. Because of this war over greed and materialism and knowledge, We have fallen to a denser state of existence. I'm being expired in the snow, right? I had no topic of discussion when I went for this walk. This is why certain elements of the Vedas, which to me is the oldest spiritual writings on the planet. Yes, some scholars will tell you that the Vedas can't be older than 2000 BC, and that's orally. I think the earliest written version of the Rig Veda, because the Rig Veda is the oldest of the Vedas. We have 4 Vedas, and then you have other so-called Vedic writings. Unfortunately, if you ask scholars, a lot of scholars about Vedic writings, they talk about the Puranas, they talk about the Bhagavad Gita, they talk about the Mahabharata, they talk about these writings. Rarely did they mention the most important and most ancient of the Vedic writings, and that's the first book of the Holy Vedas, the Rig Veda, because most of the Rig Veda is a mystery to scholars. But it is no doubt the oldest of the Vedic writings, the most important of the Vedic writings, the most mysterious of the Vedic writings. And in my opinion, these Vedic writings come from a much, much earlier date, could be up to 10,000 or more years. And they are hymns in Sanskrit to align us to the stars, to the cosmic consciousness of God, of the universe. Yeah, Sanskrit is called the language of the gods. Literally. And this isn't just some fancy title. This is named this for a reason. It wasn't to get clicks. Right? It wasn't to get views. There wasn't social media back then. There wasn't it wasn't for a popularity contest, like a contest, a trigger word to get people to flock to it. It is a language of the stars. Literally, Sanskrit, the sounds of the words, the vowels, the letters, everything. There's different ways of pronouncing it even. But these sounds, like what I mean by that is some letters you pronounce off the palate a certain way. Some letters you pronounce with your tongue behind your teeth. Some letters you pronounce with your tongue in certain areas at the roof of your mouth. Some come from the throat. There's all different ways to pronounce different Sanskrit sounds. And they are derived from the primal sounds of the universe and nature, right? That's why they eloquently and poetically and symbolically write it in Vedic writings as the Sanskrit is derived off the sound of Shiva's cosmic freaking drum, right? Which ultimately is a sun, a star. It's the cosmic drum. If you look at a drum, right, and you look at a sun, or our sun looks like the face of a drum, right? The skin of a drum. And it's giving you the solar beat, the solar year. And when you have that Om beat, right? That Om, that literally is the heartbeat of the sun. The heartbeat, the breathing and heartbeat of the solar system, the solar year, right? So when you're going Aum, Aum, you're literally lining to the heartbeat of our sun. Who's with me in the chat room? I gotta put on some gloves real quick. The Spliff Patrol is in full effect. Anyone that steps up is getting wrecked. The Scroll Patrol is in effect. The Spliff Patrol. The Scroll Patrol. The Scroll Patrol. Wraith. Wrong Strongo Park. What's up, brother? You know, LWC is on right now, Muay Thai. I was watching it for a little bit. Then I went for a walk. Yeah, right here we have, you guys can see, is like a 60-foot Madonna, Virgin Mary. You see it right there? I've done videos from there before. That's a Catholic retreat center there. And that's a giant Madonna statue made out of, I think it might be copper, actually, because it's green now. It's either, it might be brass, actually. Incredible. And you see the old pathway that actually leads right up that. Now it's in somebody's backyard. But you see that stone pathway? That was there before that house was even there. These stone walls exist all over the Hudson Valley and throughout the country, throughout the world. You see those rock walls? Those are most likely prehistoric. I don't even think the Native Americans did that. That predates history around here. This is a very historical area. So if you guys don't know, this area of Haverstraw and Stony Point was first colonized in the 1600s, 1666 to be exact. And one of the most intense wars and stuff, right? Like for our independence, right? Not the Civil Wars, our independence wars, right? Is it the Civil? Yeah, am I saying it right? Yeah. So it was with George Washington and all those guys. They went all through here. In fact, they had appointed this guy called Mad Anthony Wayne. And at that time, the British, they had, right here on the Hudson River, they had camped and took in control over a key spot that's right down the street here. Actually, it's literally like in my wife's childhood home's backyard. Like it's right across the street. The Battle of Stony Point took place over there. And what's interesting and crazy about that battle is Mad Anthony Wayne was the general for the United States that led the battle. And they were attacking the British who were camped there. And it's right where the lighthouse is. It's like on top of the hill where the lighthouse is. And it's a very strategic spot. And a lot of UFO sightings over there. In fact, the nuclear power plant, Indian Point, got built right across the street, right across the river from there. So right before United States, before we attacked the British during this battle, a couple of days before, we went into the local town and took out all the dogs. So there would be no barking. There would be no clues when they did this like midnight attack on the British. So they wanted to do it in silence. No gunfire, no nothing. So they literally came along the Hudson River, crawled up the side of the cliff, and attacked the British while they were sleeping in their tents with hatchets and bayonets. And 70 people died that night. Most of them British. Some of them actually were unaccounted for and escaped, some people. Some of them were taken prisoner. Very few casualties on our side. But that's one of the last battles, and when we took back a strategic spot on the Hudson River, right? Very strategic spot, because right on that spot, you can look down the river and see the George Washington Bridge, which is Manhattan. And then you could look down the other side and look upstate, like at Bear Mountain and all the freaking, mountain ranges and that go up that way, Catskills and all that. So it's a very strategic spot. That's why there's a lighthouse there, very strategic. And that was the Battle of Stony Point. That was one of the last battles, I think, of the war, the second to last battle, if I'm not mistaken. And we do reenactments over here all the time throughout the year. I mean, once a year. I think it was like in summertime when that battle took place or whatever. But yeah, George Washington has all sorts of history in this area. Like right where we buy groceries, there's a sign that says the right here is where once stood George Washington's walnut tree. Where I've done videos there, where now there's a freaking Salvation Army bin of Salvation Army bins there, and and Aldi's and a freaking dollar store, and it used to be George Washington's walnut tree there, and actually, it says that's where he used to have his troops gather, and where he used to pay his troops like rations and money or whatever their weekly salaries were or whatever it is. So it's a lot of history in this area, and there's a lot of ghosts and energy repeated in this area, you know. So it's very, very incredible area. A lot of ancient stone sites, stone chambers, dolmens, stone walls, cairns, all sorts of and these megalithic and sites and the ancient stone sites, they have archaeoastronomy alignments, so they weren't just randomly threw up in any old spot. They were put on specific energetic locations on the planet, on the grid, right? So a lot of them are built on magnetic anomalies, and a lot of them were actually, they were built right on top of magnetic anomalies, and they were put on facing magnetic north, many of them, right? So those are not just random stone structures when they've been there for thousands of years and they're right on top of a magnetic anomaly or some sort of they're facing magnetic north, or they're on some sort of like so-called ley line or currents of energy. And we have those that those pretty much line up with flowing water, right? When you have underground flowing streams of water, it's very special, it's very powerful. It's a conduit, it's a portal, right? It's traveling knowledge, and it's very powerful. And a lot of these stone sites, they're built on top of underground water, flowing water for reasons. And mostly the structures that are built on top of water like that is made from granite. And when this happens, little shocks and vibrations are generated, right? So like when you have a structure of granite built on top of running water, the natural shocks and vibrations that are generated beneath the ground will rub together the quartz crystal within the granite, and it will produce a piezoelectric effect where light will be emitted from the stone. It will rise up from the ground, seemingly, right? And there's knowledge within that light. You're literally accessing the knowledge and the electrons and the rays of light from the sun that stone has absorbed over the friggin' thousands of years of its life, right? And when you lift a stone off the ground, like a dolmen is, it's like pulling a guitar string off of the fretboard, where it can vibrate and resonate the cosmic frequency that it's absorbing, right? Shout out to Glenn Kreisberg, because he also is someone that I've interviewed, and he wrote Spirits in Stone, and he talks about the energies of electricity in his book Spirits in Stone. We did a documentary on it I did with Eric Swanson that you guys can check out on Eric Swanson's channel. He's a filmmaker. I highly recommend you check out that documentary Eric did about me and the Balanced Rock, a dolmen here in the Hudson Valley. Of course, you guys can support my channel, donate at my PayPal. You guys can find the link at themysticalspiral.com. I also just put up my new colleagues page on themysticalspiral.com. You guys can get all sorts of knowledge and information and all sorts of things available, all from every religion pretty much, and every background. We got all cultures and all backgrounds. I have a Christian author on there. Excuse me. I have a Christian author on there. I have a dowser on there and megalithic researcher on there. I have a sound engineer on there who also does megalithic stone research. I have a Sri Lankan born astrobiologist and astronomer, mathematician and doctor on there. I have an American born astrologer on there. I have an Italian born psychic on there and mystic. So we have people from all different backgrounds and cultures on my colleagues page. So whatever background you come from, you can also find more information with these people. And these are the same people that I don't have many guests on my podcast. I used to do a radio show back over 10 years ago. I did a radio show from 2013 until 2023 or 2024? Maybe early 2024 is when the last station I was on stopped. They went. I don't know if they went under, but the owner of the station, decided to close it and didn't even give us a heads up. He just closed the station and stopped talking to everybody. Didn't return our calls, our messages, nothing. Just one day we went to go sign on our show and nothing was working. We got no reason why, no thanks for your years of service, no nothing. Not even a group email. So thanks a lot, Chris Gio. What a man. What a stand-up man you are. Really appreciate it, brother. You really know how to conduct yourself. Jerk off. Yeah, that was Truth Frequency Radio. But before Truth Frequency Radio, I was on Para X Radio Network. Really good people on the Para X Radio Network. Husband and wife run the station, and really good people. It's just I was better fit for Truth Frequency Radio, so I ended up moving over to Truth Frequency Radio. But and Truth Frequency Radio had a good run at one point, but the last 2 years or 3 years or so, the station was just running itself. We had no help from the owners whatsoever. And then finally, one day, it was just not paid for anymore or whatever. So, whatever. But I did a radio show for all those years, and I'm looking to start doing an audio podcast again as well. So I'm going to start putting some of my podcast. I started the Space Water podcast. Now we're like over 45 episodes in. If you guys have just found out about my channel, my name is Ra Castaldo. I started first being interviewed probably when I was around 30 years old. I'm now going to be 47. So I've been sharing my information and doing things for a lot of years. I didn't start to do YouTube until like 2017 or so. But I remember when I first got a YouTube, not a channel, but like I signed up on YouTube. I hadn't done videos yet. It was literally December 20th, 2012. when I got a computer at my own home, because I never really liked computers. So I used to be a dispatcher for a couple of different companies, and I had access to computers at my jobs. So I had my computer at my job, and sometimes I was working like 17 hours a day in the winter because I was dispatching for an oil company, really busy in the winter months. So sometimes I would just spend the night there. and spend like 24 hours in the office. And we had like 4 computers in that office. I had like so many screens and all this shit going on. So I was able to like burn my own DVDs and this and that. Like I had all this stuff going on in there. So like I didn't really need a computer at home until like 2012. So I think 2012 was my first actual desktop computer that I had. My parents never had one growing up. You know, they're old school. So, and my brother and sister are a lot older than me. I'm the youngest. So my brother and sister are in their late 50s now. So like, I didn't have no computers growing up. I grew up with the older generations. I remember I got YouTube in like December 20th, 2012, because that's when I got my computer. And I started doing videos like 2017. I had already been doing radio for a little while. And then I was like, yeah, I might as well do videos too. That looked like my friend's van up there. But yeah, we're going to do another podcast in a little bit. I'm going to shovel real quick. And we're going to be talking about, we're going to be continuing the discussion about God rides on clouds. And we're going to be talking about certain light that's coming our way and what we can do about changing the collective consciousness of humanity. And it starts with yourself. It starts with how you react to things. And it starts with being connected with who you are as a person, where you fit in nature and the universe. And being comfortable with who you are, right? Not having to be somebody's cheerleader, to be their friend, or to be on their in their company, or to be whatever. And that's the culture we have nowadays. Like with social media, everybody has to be somebody's cheerleader to be accepted. Nobody likes adversity. And through adversity is how you forge champions. Remember that. Most champions you'll find didn't have an easy upbringing, didn't have an easy route, right? Most people I know that are really like strong men that you can depend on, and strong women that you can depend on, they went through a lot of adversity growing up. That's how you forge champions. That's how you forge heroes. Right? Giving somebody what they're looking for just at the touch of the drop of a, like just at the one click, right? Everybody wants everything immediately nowadays because of the, you know, how we are with the computer culture and internet and everything. Everybody's is used to getting things immediately. When to be great at something or to have knowledge in something, it takes many years to be forged in the fire. Right? Now everybody wants to be an expert. Everyone wants to have knowledge because they can just go online and look it up. And they think that that makes them knowledgeable when it's not. That's not the case. Do you realize to have true wisdom about something, you have to have the life experience that goes with the information. Right? So like when you're even like, there's a lot of people that are like Reiki healers now, or they're talking like they're doing this and then they're like 20 in their early 20s and late things like that. Yeah, you might have the information because you took the class or you read it online or what, but you don't have the life experience of working with that energy and how that energy affects other humans. Once you go through 20 years of working with people and working with life energies and the consequences of certain things, then come back and say you're ready to help other people and teach other people and talk about it. right? There's so many people that want to be on podcasts nowadays and want to be experts because they're doing research online. They're looking things up online. And it's really for someone who's intuitive myself, and I can see through things, I could connect to things. I can, I can tell. And a lot of these people are, they're decent people, but a lot of them are like, it is a form of lying, right? So they're many of them are how can I put it? They're I don't know. They take their own personal psyche and they glorify it to seem more supernatural, right? And they take certain things that have happened throughout their life, like traumas and things, and they want to make it look like they're part of some big project that put them through this trauma, like, or that millions of dollars must have been spent on them to put them through some time travel or Montauk project or all of these things, right? Do you really think that all of these people were involved with these so-called experiments and projects? I mean, it's carried away now. There were tests done on people and things like this, but nowadays people want to be famous for being part of some sort of like super soldier fucking this and that, when it's a sickness, and it's a mental illness in itself. It's not a group you should want to be a part of, and people are trying to make their own traumas and their own mental illnesses seem like it's part of some sort of supernatural experiment nowadays. It's such a weird community with that, when none of these people have any real skills anywhere else in life, most of them. And why would you want to be recognized for trauma anyway, for something that you, like some traumatic event that you went through? And it doesn't, even if you went through a traumatic event, how does that mean all of a sudden you have like wisdom or some sort of way to help somebody else? And there's like a big movement happening within the metaphysical community or UFO type community, whatever you want to call it. And it's like a bunch of social rejects. Like a bunch of people that didn't grow up having life experiences. They grew up like on the internet. And it's sad to watch, actually. It's sad to watch. People are becoming less manly and less like real people. And it's really it's scary to watch. And that's why be very careful with certain things that you listen to and you pay attention to. Just because someone says one or two things that might sound right, that doesn't mean everything else that they're saying is right. It's a scary world we live in, and unfortunately nowadays there's too many people that want to be the one with the knowledge. And most of those people should be actually sitting back and listening instead of talking so much. I hope you guys are doing well out there. We'll see you on the Space Water podcast soon. I'm going to shovel real quick. I don't have much. There's just a little dusting. And then I'm going to eat something, and then we'll go live. Space Water podcast here on Exploring the Ka on YouTube. Yeah, I don't consider myself an expert in dotology. I have been involved with studying ancient religions, biblical archaeology, mythology, translating Ugaritic writings from the ancient Near East, ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics, and a lot of and biblical related writings as well. But I don't consider myself an expert because I'm not fluent in any of those ancient writings. I'm not fluent in them in any way, and I just don't consider myself an expert. What I consider myself is that I can spot an expert I guess. And I can have intelligent conversations with experts and hold my own and not look like a complete fool. Um, Now, when it comes to certain areas, I would say I know as much as experts in certain areas of it. And in certain areas, I would say I know even more than some of the experts. But then there's certain areas where the experts know more than me, right? Because um, they've gone through it in a more organized way, maybe, and they can break it down in a more organized way. I guess I don't know. I don't know how to put it, but I never had the degree in it, so I can't say I'm an expert in it, right? But I definitely, um, I definitely would be a unique exception in there because of the diversity I have with different writings as well. Because even like people that talk about biblical writings, like that guy Wes Huff that recently came out with Billy Carson and all that, there's a lot of things I don't agree with that he talks about as well. Even though what he did with Billy was much needed, um, he doesn't ever talk about the biblical comparisons to Vedic, right? Um, like Indra is the rider on the clouds, and they also talk about that with God in the Bible, right? And they also talk about like Indra being thousand-eyed, right? They also talk about the Ophanim, the angels being thousand-eyed and flames that turn every which way. And this is talked about with the cherubim in the Bible. This is talked about right in the Vedic writings as well. So there's a lot of comparisons besides that just one that I just gave you. A lot of comparisons with Vedic writings and the Bible. And I never hear him talk about like the Sanskrit and Vedic origins of uh, a lot of it. A lot of the ancient writings from the Ugarit and a lot of the tribes from the Ugarit come from the Asura and the Devas. And I've never even heard him mention giants and Nephilim and explore those topics. So he is a mainstream Christian author. He doesn't get down to the nit grit. But I'll see you guys soon. Thank you. It's 108, a special minute, 108. We've been live for 108 minutes at 8 seconds. So spiral out.